here's Brody Brazil.
Let's just go ahead and state all the obvious things right from the start. I'm not an engineer, nor an architect, nor a designer. I don't work in real estate. I'm just a sports broadcaster. But when I heard that this potential new A's stadium in Las Vegas at the Tropicana Hotel site, when I heard it was only going to need somewhere between 9 and 12 acres, and I don't know, by the way, which one of those numbers is accurate, but it doesn't really matter. They're kind of the same. I just figured that either one of those totals seemed like a really small piece of land for a Major League Baseball venue. Now, as a sports broadcaster, I've had the opportunity to see most ballparks across the country, and I know that most of them, and especially the new ones, and especially ones with retractable roofs, they take up just a little bit more space than 9 to 12 acres. So what I want to do here is give you the tour, give you literally the lay of the land via Google Earth. This is the view. This is the Tropicana, but this is kind of the perspective that they've been saying lately that fans might have if the ballpark does face north towards the Strip. I mean, there is the Tropicana. It's that big white albatross right there on the south side of the Strip. So what I want to do is take you above here, kind of give you the 2D view, and eventually we'll line this all up. And we'll first give a measure of the entire site here. Now, I think they said it was 36 acres. So we'll get the exact measurement here if I'm going corner to corner to corner to corner. And yeah, look at that. There we go. 36.06 acres. Let's call it 36 acres. So we're clear on the acreage of the total site. That is the total Tropicana Hotel site. Now, the question is, can you or can you not put a Major League ballpark on 9 acres? Wait till I show you what 9 or 12 acres looks like. I'll skip ahead because I've played with this a little bit. I think the answer is yes, you can do it. But the real question, and the answer I don't know, is can you do it the Vegas way? Can you do it the right way? Can you do what you're supposed to do here, not just kind of jam something in? Okay, so that is 36 acres indeed. Let me just draw what I think might be 9 acres. I mean, I'm basically trying to take a quarter of this. This might be a little bit bigger, but let's see what that is. And it's right above me right here. Oh, wow. So I was pretty close, but it's over. That's 10.76 acres. Let me show you what 9 acres looks like here first off. I guess I got to shrink it down even more. Let's shrink a little bit this way and a little bit this way. So this is going to get us, yeah, there's pretty much 9 acres. I know that's not a perfect square, but now you can see the entire site and what a small percentage that 9 acres is. Now, let's zoom out here and let's show you where T-Mobile Arena is. I mean, that is kind of like a 9-acre site. I'll measure that one in just a second too. You'll eventually be able to see Allegiant Stadium down here. I mean, that, you can kind of see where all 3 venues would be. I mean, that is certainly more than 9 acres, parking lots and that slide-in field included. So anyway, that's what 9 acres looks like. Let me go back here and give you one more idea of what a dozen acres looks like, just in case. We've heard this number could change. I heard 9 at first. Here across the weekend, I heard it might go up to 12. So let's make it more of a square here. So I'm going to just kind of drag this around. Well, I've already exceeded 12. So, okay. And it's just the number right above my head there. Let's just call that 12. All right. There. Okay. 11.97. 12 acres. So now that is what 12 acres looks like. And I guess I can kind of do that to it, kind of give you that feel. So you be the judge. I mean, just looking at that, and we are going to see it transposed and get the measurements of other ballparks around the country. But that is what right there, 12 acres looks like on this Tropicana Hotel site. All right. So that established, let's actually go back to the first site that the A's had identified because it's not far away here, the Wild Wild West Casino site, or the former Wild Wild West Casino site. That's literally on Trop, right across I-15. There's that. And then here's these 49 acres that they were seeking out. Let me just go ahead and adjust that to be nice and square. We'll make this just a little bit bigger. Okay, let's measure this one out here from there to there. Boy, this tool is so nice. I mean, you can just kind of paint it how you like it, and it will give you the acreage. Now, this should be somewhere close to 49 acres. I think I'm doing this sloppily, but ballpark it. Literally ballpark it. Oh, 48.54. Yeah, let's call it 49 acres. So, I mean, on that acreage, you can do whatever you want. You can build a ballpark. You can build stuff around it. I mean, that was the original plan. And clearly here with 9 or 12 acres, you might be able to fit it in. And again, wait for the examples. But this, compared to that, is two totally separate things. I mean, let me just draw 9 acres again for you here. It's something like that. Yeah, there you go. Well, it's 5. Let me stretch it out here, to be fair. 8. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so you saw what 40-something acres looks like. Here's 10. Let's call it 10. I mean, that is a sizable difference. Okay, but now we got to ask ourselves the question, like, what do modern ballparks look like? How much acreage do they take up? Let me go to the smallest retractable roof stadium in Major League Baseball. That is Lone Depot Park in Miami. If I can spell it. All right, here we go. Lone Depot Park on Marlins Way. We'll take this flight, out of the desert, down to the Sunshine State. There we are in Miami, and there is Lone Depot Park, which was constructed and finished in 2012. Okay, so I'll stop it here. I'll put it in 2D mode, rotate it around here. Okay, so let me zoom in here. Now, what do we think the acreage is here? We'll measure it. And I won't even do these parking lots. I'll literally do just a little bit outside the structure, right? Because it needs that area for the retractable roof. So let's see what it is. Oh, wait. Why did it not go? Let's try that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 17.68 acres. That is a ballpark that seats 36,000. And again, the proposed Las Vegas ballpark is 30 to 35. So there's 36,000, a little bit bigger, retractable roof, 2012. And that site takes up 17.68 acres. Okay, well, what's the next smallest retractable roof ballpark? Well, that one was also recently built. This is Globe Life Park in Arlington. Now, this is Texas. They've got a lot of land. I'm already going to estimate that this one is a ridiculous land amount. No, that's the old one. Wait, did I type in Globe Life Park instead of field? Yeah, I did. Let's do this. It's going to just bring me right down. Now, there it is. Okay, look at, and this, by the way, this image is from December 4th, 2019. So this was still under construction. Let's go 2D mode here. Let's give you a look at it, and let's just go ahead and draw right around the structure. Again, I'm not doing parking lots. I'm not doing all the extra space. I'm literally doing right around the structure to get the structure acreage size. Again, this is bare minimum. 19.72 acres. That's a 40,000 seat stadium. So yes, it's in Texas. It's got more seats, a little bit bigger, but the acreage is at least double of what they're planning for. Well, at 9 acres, right? At 12, it's 7 or 8 more. This is significantly bigger. Okay, but fine. It is Texas. Let me show you what's another retractable roof. Minute Maid Park, also in Texas. Rogers Center in Toronto. How about this one? Milwaukee, American Family Field. Now, this one should be smaller. I didn't spell American right. Hopefully autocorrect will help me out there. Or maybe I just didn't capitalize it. I wasn't paying attention. You're seeing how bad my typing is here. Okay, there is American Family Field, former Miller Park. And let's go above it, and let's just trace it here. Let's go ahead and give you the acreage. And again, this is not even parking lots or anything around it. This is literally just the structure, right? So I'll go right around it, and the acreage is 12.34. Okay, so a ballpark like this is still bigger by a little bit, but it needs 12. It doesn't get 9 acres. It needs all 12 acres to fit on the site like Las Vegas. Now, I've never been to this ballpark, so I can't give you the firsthand experience on it. Does anybody rave about it? Is this a ballpark that is Vegas worthy, Vegas standards? Is this something that is going to fit well on the Strip, like if it's that size. Is this too small of a ballpark? Is something like this going to work? I mean, look at the back of this. It's pretty bare bones outside the outfield fence. Kind of peek in that way. Look at that, right? So it just goes to show you this is the kind of project that they would need to build on that site. Again, to answer the question, is it possible? Yeah, I mean, there's 12.34 acres. You really got to squeeze it in. But let me also show you some examples of like ballparks that do not have retractable roofs, right? Like Oracle Park. Excuse my typing, by the way. I'm nervous. I got a lot of pressure. Nobody usually watches my typing. So here's Oracle Park in San Francisco. Now, I've said all along, I mean, when this was constructed, late 90s, early 2000s, it is on a small piece of real estate. They did such a good job to make everything fit. I mean, and the same thing with PNC Park. We can visit that too. I think the acreage here is like 14, but let's go ahead and measure it. Let's do just a little bit outside the structure here. Third and King. And we find out that, look at that, 12.33 acres. Okay, so if you're closer to that 12 number, but again, this park doesn't have a roof on it. Ballparks with roofs, they take up a lot more space, and especially retractable roofs. Let's do this. Let's take a look at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. All right, let's go take a look at that one. Now, that is a big ballpark. Seats 47,000. So clearly a lot more capacity than what they're thinking about with Las Vegas. But retractable roof, it hangs over. In fact, part of it, I want to show you this because this is kind of nuts, actually. See how this roof right here, you know, these portions are actually slid over the park, but you can see right here those train tracks. I mean, the retractable roof hangs over those tracks. So they use that space. Again, this is a creative way of using space, something they might have to do with the Tropicana site. They may have to do something like that where it uses extra space over something else, doesn't maybe count for the acreage, because let's see what T-Mobile Park here sits on. Go ahead and zoom out and measure. And I got to measure the whole thing again. 1, 2, 3. But, you know, this is a small piece of land here for a 48,000 seat stadium. Well, there you go, 15.72 acres. So, bigger ballpark, a little bit more space. I mean, the 9 number, I think what we're figuring out here is whenever you've initially heard 9 acres, 9 of the 36 acres, like none of that for this type of stadium, retractable roof, is really possible. Let's do another desert-themed one. Let's go ahead and look at Chase Field. Chase Field takes us to Phoenix, Arizona. We go out of Seattle. Woo! We do that little twist, which makes me super dizzy. There's Chase Field, downtown Phoenix. Let me put us in the 2D view. And let's go ahead and trace Chase. I think this is going to be a big one. I'll kind of do it there. And this isn't perfect, but at least this is more square. Okay, 11.33 acres, but again, I'm just tracing the building. If I did the whole property here, like for example, let's just go ahead and stretch that out from block to block. You know, it might add an acre or two, I would suppose. Actually, you know what, let me just do this again. It'll be easier that way. $15 acres. So we're in the ballpark, literally. So what's a comparable size of 9 to 12 acres? There are ballparks like Fenway Park. Let's go to Fenway Park in Boston. Fenway and Wrigley, because they were built in the early 1900s. Fenway from 1912. And Wrigley was Wrigley a year or two before that? I cannot remember which one was first. Wrigley was 1914. So Fenway was 2 years older than Wrigley. Looks like, boy, they're set up for a concert there. Not even a baseball game. How about that? Okay, let's go 2D here on Fenway, and we'll go ahead and just draw out the acreage. And I think this one's going to come, I'm going to do the whole building here. You need the whole building. I think this one's going to come out to, and actually, you know what? This is all part of the building here too. So let me just include most of it, kind of give you an idea. Again, none of this is an exact size. So there you go, 9.95 acres. So is it possible? Can you put a big league ballpark on 9 acres? Well, here's 995, and the answer is you can. And this does seat 37,000, but comfortably with luxury boxes? No. With a roof? No. This is old. This is 1900s era seating. Now, I have been here multiple times, and I can tell you that you sit like this the entire time. This concourse is tiny, ingress, egress, terrible, but you put up with it because it's Fenway Park. This is not something you want to do with a brand new ballpark in Las Vegas. Let's take a look at Wrigley Field. You like the keyboard sounds, by the way? It's a Keychron, mechanical keyboard. Okay, just west of Lake Michigan, north side of Chicago, there is the beautiful Wrigley Field, the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. So let's go ahead and zoom in, get above it, and let's draw around Wrigley Field here. Again, I'm just going to do the structure of it, right? Not maybe all the area surrounding it. So there to there. Just go there. Okay. 8.79. And they just put a ton of money into redoing Wrigley Field to modernize it as best as possible. But as we know, it's not the biggest thing in the world. So again, it's this trade-off. Can you do it? Can you put a ballpark at the Tropicana site and have it be a functioning ballpark? Yes, you can. I mean, this is proof of it right here. I mean, they did this 100 plus years ago. But with that said, can you do everything you need? Can you get all the luxury amenities? Can you get the retractable roof on that size and site? It kind of remains to be seen. Let's look at two other things here. Oh my gosh, I can't even spell Oakland Coliseum. I'm so nervous about my typing. Wait, why is it not even popping up? Let's see where it brings me. Hopefully right off of Hagenberger and 880 here. Let's see. All right, there we go. It found it. Okay, so let's take a look and see what the acreage is here of just the Coliseum site structure. It's so much easier to draw squares than circles, but I don't even, this one's going to be pretty mammoth, I think. 15 acres. Wow. Current Coliseum site takes up 15 acres. So for all of you going to this old joint, the old Last Dive Bar, I mean, imagine at the most a brand new Las Vegas ballpark taking up 3 to 4 fewer acres than just this, which we know the Coliseum is big, but, and then let's go ahead and look up Las Vegas Ballpark. Okay, so this is in Summerlin. This is where the AAA Aviators play. Seats 8,000. I always thought it was 10, but then, oh, wait a second. The satellite info is not even there. Oh, come on. When was this from? Well, that's unfortunate. I guess you could kind of see the outline of it. Didn't even exist yet. Is this an old photo in Summerlin? Let's just draw around it. Let's go all the way out here because I know where it is, and I know, I mean, you can kind of see how they've graded this site for the future ballpark. Yeah, so that's like a 5, I mean, it just goes to show you, that's like a 6-acre site for that minor league ballpark. And maybe it's a little bit, it's probably a little bit more than that. Let's call it 7. So could you fit a minor league 8,000 seat ballpark on the Tropicana site? Of course you could. You know, a baseball field alone, I read, takes up 4.5 acres, a typical sized major league field with like 400 dimensions, straightaway center. It's about 4.5 acres. Any other ones here that I think I've shown you a little bit of everything. I've shown you retractables. I've shown you the smallest stadiums. How about like Dodger Stadium, for example? Dodger Stadium is one of the oldest existing major league cathedrals. At 1962 when it opened, but it seats the most. In fact, by far, Coors seats 50,000. Dodger Stadium has a 56,000 capacity. Look at all that parking space. My goodness. Obviously, I've been here too. I can tell you it is an old ballpark, but so amazingly well kept. It is in a lot of ways like Disneyland itself, which I know is an Anaheim thing, not an LA thing, but it's old but well kept. It doesn't really age for how old it is. Okay, let's close that shape. 16.46 acres for current Dodger Stadium as it is right now. And by the way, watch this view right here. Look at that view you get. Oh, man. Now that is pretty cool. Anyway, I digress. That's not what this video is about. Let's go back to Tropicana here. And just give you this idea one more time. I guess it wasn't clear about which Tropicana. Nope, the one in Las Vegas. There we go. Let's just take one more look here. Again, and I think, to answer the question, is this site capable of hosting a ballpark? I mean, yes, to a certain degree, but to do everything you want it to do, I think it's going to need at least 12 acres. Here, again, I'll measure it for you. Square to square to corner to corner. That should be 36, right? And so you're really looking at, it's got to be on this corner, right? It's got to be on this corner of Tropicana and Las Vegas Boulevard. So there you go. It's 8 acres. Let's just show you one more time here. Basically, there's 9 acres, right? So, I mean, can you see a ballpark on that? And they'd have to take down those pedestrian bridges, obviously. If you're going to utilize that whole corner, you've got to take it all the way to the edge. But then pedestrians, how does that work? We know there's not really pedestrians on Las Vegas Boulevard proper. That's why they use, or at least crosswalks, they use those overpasses. But that's why, kind of going back to, that site versus over here. And again, from what I'm told, this is a non-factor anymore because this site is off the table, even though it was binding at one point. If you measure this out like I will, and you kind of see the view of it here, I mean, you've got 48 acres over here. You got tons of space to do whatever you want. And to be honest, I mean, here's kind of the view back of the Tropicana. Let me tilt it down a little bit better there. I mean, this would be kind of more of the view you would get. Now, here's another funny thing. I should probably do a separate video on this. Ballparks across the country all generally have an easterly orientation. They've said here that the ballpark at Tropicana Hotel, that hotel site, would face north, but there's only a few that do, and I don't even know if it's entirely possible for sun restrictions. I think it's Rule 1.04 of Major League Baseball, generally preferring that all new ballparks face east, like the Coliseum does, like Howard Terminal is supposed to, like Oracle Park does, like T-Mobile Park does, even the retractable roof ballparks like T-Mobile, same place. Which is another one that faces, Lone Depot Park faces east. For this reason, you don't want the sun in the batter's eye if it's east looking west, right? Because the sun sets west. So let's go above this one more time and let's just show you the difference here. There's that site all lined up versus, I mean, that site is just so much bigger than the entire Tropicana site, let alone only taking 9 or 12 acres of it. But let me just show you this one more time since we're here. This is what they're saying. If the ballpark is going to face north, and if home plate will face north, I mean, if you're, I guess, right behind home plate, that's your view. Or maybe if it faces east, that's your view. If you're down the first base line, or I should say third base line, you're out here facing towards the hills and the airport. And by the way, I mean, I'm doing 10 videos, I guess, here at once, but when this ever gets down to EIR type surveys and research, I mean, this is Harry Reid International Airport. This is one of the biggest and busiest airports in our country. Just the volume of flights in and out and people in and out. And Tropicana being a main thoroughfare, like from the airport out here, you've all done it. You make this left and you head towards the Strip. And if you put 35,000 people, I mean, just look at this, right? Let me go ahead and just map it over here. If you put, 35,000 people on this square 81 times a year, I mean, that's kind of suffocating the rest of the Strip a little bit. But again, not an engineer, not a planning designer. No, that's not me. I'm just a person with some questions and making this video out of curiosity. So, look, there you go. I said it before. I'll say it again. I think that 9 acres just doesn't seem like it does the job. And maybe by the time that you're watching this, that will be like debunked a little bit, that it's going to be more than 9 acres. But the initial plans were for buying 9 of 36 acres here at the Tropicana Hotel site. 12, I guess, doable. But the biggest thing here is, could you do it? Could you cram it in here? Probably. You could get really creative and do this. But is it gonna do everything that it's supposed to do? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thumbs up on this video. Hey, since you watched here this entire time, I appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that I can see you next time.